Not only did the kids come out and want to do the same, sort of hit the same spots and do the same tricks as their idols, then like a lot of filmmakers wanted to like start making movies like Mack Dawg and Whitey, who were their idols. So then you had, all of a sudden, you had these two new snowboard crews that were so influential. Like you had on one half, you had like the kids knows guys, and then on the other side was the Tech Nine guys, which were kind of like the polar opposite of styles, you could say, as far as like dress and maybe demeanor. And they were both doing it 100% in Utah, and so it's kind of like, I feel like the world kind of, either you were on one side or the other, and the world kind of revolved around Salt Lake, and like those two didn't really like step on each other's toes too much, because either you were like a gangster kid and Tech Nine spoke to you, or maybe you liked the tight pants and you liked what Justin Hebel and John Cooley were doing, and Kids Know talked to you. So I mean, it was like, that was really happening, and then that brought so many people to town as well.
Me and my whole crew were complete video nerds as far as watching every single video, memorizing every trick, every spot. We would buy literally every video that came out and just over and over just bang them over our heads with like repeat watchability of these videos. So when we came here for the first time and we saw, oh, there's that rail that, you know, JP backflipped that I have as a poster on my wall. Oh, there's that rail Mikey LeBlanc hit. Oh, there's that spot from that spot. We were like, you know, it's like when somebody goes and visits a city and they do like the tour of the history of the city, like, and it's like, oh, there's like Paul Revere in Boston or something. Like, oh, there's the rail JP backlipped. You know, for us, those like iconic spots were kind of really like special to see.
So yeah, so I grew up, you know, watching videos every single day, and I was so influenced by videos, and naturally just wanted to be in a video. That's right when like digital, like mini DV cameras broke, and we were just like, let's make a video, this will be insane. Like all the like top videos that I was watching, like Mack Dawg and standard Whitey and everything, was pretty much shot on 16mm film. So once that 3-chip camera broke, it exploded the scene, and kids, you know, were getting their hands on them.
And that was a game changer, because we're like, yo, should we rewind that tape and watch that to see? We didn't even realize you could do that until we were in the moment. And then you're like, oh, it's okay to just check this. And we just watch it once or twice. You're like, we don't want to burn the tape. Like, you don't want to get the quality down, so let's just watch it once.
With all the people that came here, then there was like, they brought their guys who were filmers to film them, and it was like, you know, kind of this whole era of like DIY movie making. It was less about the whole 16mm snowboard movies in the past that we'd all kind of grown up watching. It was like, that was the era it all started to make it digitally, and you can make it on your laptop, and that kind of like ushered in so many different crews making snowboard movies at the time.
Tech Nine videos were like the best, because they put everybody, their old marketing technique of giving everybody bindings or whatever, they used to put everybody in the movie, and it was like VX footage 16. It was amazing, and it was like good for up and coming kids.
I mean, when we made Represent, like Cole had never even picked up a camera before, and we didn't have the draw with the riders, so Cole would have to find these new young kids. And it just happened, Utah was just a gold mine for talent. There were so many kids that were being pushed by what like JP and Jeremy were doing, and what they're seeing J2 and everybody else do, and Whitey's movies and Marco, that I guess it pushed all the kids up to the next level.
The birth of Finger on the Trigger was kind of like Ethan Eastone and I. You know, he shot photos and I was into filming, and just the idea of like we were all into hip hop and that whole culture, and you know, that was our whole vibe.
So like a shirt, but I'm climbing, sick of taking assignments and dealing with inadequate. I feel like stuttering some MCs, bake them in the oven like bread. I track down like feds and straight C-red. It's so simple, maybe not. Pro baby, ready vibe. Stand at attention, so many waiting to listen, and it's no more. I saw like Condor. After that last track, homie, they showed me they need the encore. Sweat come up my paws, I play dog and don't pause. Like Roberto Duran, I just stand and take more. No minds has never been spoken. Ayos, mios, takes time and we go. Release show, all inhibitions diminish. This is FaceTime and Pro got a ticket to shine. And the rhyme for the good of my health. It's no wonder I snuck you and got mine, it's what I was dealt. Come on, it is, you want more, the encore. L got it locked down, what you here for? And see the kid gon' bring it, what you really need now, baby. Scream a little louder for the encore. What it is, you want more, the encore. L got it locked down, what you here for? And see the kid gon' bring it, what you really need now, baby. Scream a little louder for the encore.
A big thing for us that we were always known for was developing kids.
Those Tech 9 movies, they're responsible for getting a lot of people, helping a lot of unknown kids like become pros too as well. That's a huge, Tech 9 movies were awesome. The soundtrack.
The buck stops right here, crystal, clear and fast like a lead jet. Sound like I'm busting a tech. That's the vocal spokesman from birth. I was programmed, yeah. But you see, I'm ready to tear through burlap with my bare hands. I doubt you get a fair chance. But so what, boy? I guess you.
Yeah, Ethan and Cole gave me my first shot at filming for Finger on the Trigger, and I took a video camera that I had one shot on. And made it to Vegas for the trade show and found Cole, showed him the shot, and he gave me my first chance. So that following week we went out and filmed, and I hit a rail in Farmington, super steep rail, front boarded it, and we had to jump out early. And I remember that was it. That was when I filmed my first part for Living Proof.
And now I scratch and claw when I'm driving my route. Without politics, I'm ominous. Many a day you stand in my way and die through spirit. You hear it, you grasp it, breathing, stop it.
Yeah, talk about someone who changed Salt Lake's shred culture, like MFM. He literally changed everyone's thought process and tricks, spots to hit, what to wear. When you'd go to the mountain, people were literally, you would see MFMs on the mountain. Spies, the jersey, the white pants. It was crazy. People literally wanted to just be that guy.
I was a camper up at Hood, High Cascade, 2000. Hebel was up there, so I got to see him building to that when that love-hate part came out, because I had watched all his Tech 9 parts. The love-hate part was like, he polished it, man. He that was really something special when he was like, you know, from blunting and really laying weight into a 5.0.
It was a cool time because the vibe that Love Hate Burning Bridges kind of put out there, I feel like set the pace for a lot of people were doing after that.
Yeah, I'm just going to Salt Lake. You guys got a room? Yeah. On the fence about this angle. What do you guys think?
I mean, growing up, Kingpin movies, hands down, were always like my favorite videos, and Whitey and those guys based out of Salt Lake was everything. Like that's all I wanted to do was make a video, a snowboard video like that, you know. And then like Love Hate came out, and Burning Bridges, and that was like right as we were kind of getting started too. So it's like this is exactly the path that we want to go on. You know, that's what we want to do. And then
that's kind of what we did. It's just, you know, all came together and did our best to make a Kingpin movie, I guess. So. So I think about the time that we kind of arrived on the scene with Videograss. You know, it was towards the end of, you know, hit the stock rail, and then, you know, snowboarding kind of progressed into this more spot focused and trying to find unique spots, and that kind of reopened everyone's eyes, you know, ours included. It's like find something new, find new stuff to hit. You know, it's like not just a handrail, but maybe it's like a rail into a bank, or you know, things like that. And there's guys like F.OD.T and like his crew, or like even, you know, Breezy has come through here, those guys, and they're looking at jumping over buildings, you know, so they're looking at the city in a complete different eye than, you know, the way we are.
When Dan was jumping everything in the city, that was some crazy shit.
Dude, when the building gaps were going on, that's when it was scary, you know? That's when things, like, that's when all of a sudden it's like life or death, and I think it almost went too far.
Definitely, as far as like the way street snowboarding got pushed in some directions, it got a little out of hand for a while, and still kind of is. But you know, Dan Breezy has come here and jumped over some crazy roof gaps. You got that one cover of Transworld where he gapped over like big step down over by the mouth of the canyon.
Yeah, the first like big gnarly roof to roof gap was in downtown Salt Lake. I was there. I was terrified. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't have it. And him and Stan Evans they were doing math equations and all this. They measured the gap, and they were like, according to our calculations, if the car hits this miles per hour, you're gonna clear this by 10 feet. And I just didn't trust anything about it. I was like, what if the car doesn't go fast enough? What if the rope breaks? What if you don't pull off, like, or whatever, this and that? And I almost left because I was so terrified of watching my friend die.
So that era was like, I think, probably the sketchiest of, you know, one of them of anything I've shot. You know, it's like I've shot a lot of backcountry and, you know, avalanche conditions and, you know, Alaska and Canada and gnarly places like that. But that whole era of like, where the street stuff just started getting bigger and bigger and nobody really knew the limits was probably some of the scariest do or die moments I've ever seen. Like, I mean, looking back on it now, like some of the stuff like Dan was doing back in like 2009, 10, I don't think he would do today, and I don't know if too many people would. And it was just like literally jumping over like these parking garages that was like, if you mess up, you're gonna die, or you're never gonna be the same person again. And it's like sketchy run-ins too, you know, just tiny little board width trails of snow being towed in by a car and going over this stuff. And it, like, you know, luckily, obviously, it all worked out. But it was like that was probably some of the heaviest stuff I've ever seen.
And I always looked at him and be like, I want to jump that one day. And Sage wanted to hit some big jumps. That's what he was saying. He's like, let's hit something gnarly.
We came here at like, I don't know, 11 at night to start grinding these knobs off. We look down and we see the cops pull in the parking lot. So we're tripping, so everyone just kind of scatters. Seth and JP went all the way to the back of the park. I go and I bury the generator, and then I bury myself in snow in the bushes. Dogger runs around back to the parking lot to his truck. He's laying down in the back of the truck just waiting for this to pass. The cops move here and they pull in the other parking lot, and they're driving around, they get out, and then they're walking. And their radios are, you know, you can hear them talking to each other. And I heard them, they were hovering around me for a minute there, and an hour I was buried in the snow. Dogger was like 45 minutes in the back of the truck. I think it was Seth comes over Dogger's radio and he's like, Mike, everything good? And Mike's like panicking, right, to get the radio turned off. And luckily nothing happened. They just glazed right over and peaced out.